Hello everyone, welcome to today's video where I am going to take a look at round 6 and 7 of the Goa International Grandmaster Chess Tournament being held in Goa from the 11th to the 19th of January. In the 6th round I was playing against Diptayan Ghosh, who is probably the current best player of from Bengal, and maybe the second best player all time or third best player all time from Bengal. So I was white and I started out with d4. Now there was a rest day before this game, but I didn't really prepare much and I started preparing only at around 10 p.m. in the night, and I decided to go for something very safe and structural because I think he's like very strong at opening theory and I didn't want to take any risks. And after bishop b7, bishop b2, knight d7, knight d2, pretty symmetrical structure actually. And here actually I had some other preps, but I decided to go for a solid for the most drawish line because I think I was quite tired today. I didn't have a good sleep, so it made sense to exchange of some pieces. And here I didn't really like f3 move, but I didn't know what to do, to be honest, so I played it, kind of weakening, opening up this diagonal for the king, and it's like the e3 pawn is kind of an awkward pawn. I was a bit afraid of rook d1, but maybe I would have gone for something like I don't know, maybe I would have gone for c4 here, with the idea of if e5 then I can just take, I believe, and take. This should be completely equal. I go e4 next. Sorry, he went for c5, dc5. I was actually thinking about bc5, where I was thinking about going for something like c4, and if queen c7, I think I would have gone for f4, and if something like rook here, I can take and maybe queen e2, or maybe even taking is not compulsory. I can just play queen e2 directly, and I have some initiative in the king side with my bishops trained at black's king. He played bishop c5 and I played king h1, getting out of this diagonal. He played queen e7, trying to go e5 next, f4, stopping e5, f6. I played queen e2. My idea was if he played e5, I would have take and now gone for e4, and if d4, then I would have just exchanged off some of my pieces. And I think it's an absolutely drawn position because his c5 bishop is quite passive and my d3 bishop is passive. I'm gonna reroute my bishop on b2 via c1 to d2 or somewhere in the future, and also I have some ideas of bishop c4 check, which will weaken my e4 pawn, but his king is kind of weak in this diagonal, but it should be a draw. So he played rook at d8 and I played rook f3, and trying to go for some attack with rook h3, queen h5 or something. He played d4, and after rook h3 I offered him a draw here because I had early draw offers, but I really had no energy to play this game, and he accepted it. And since maybe I could have gone for e4, but I didn't like f5, and this diagonal he's putting some pressure on this diagonal, and after something like rook e1, there's bishop b4, I think. Yeah, but maybe I could have gone for yeah, it's I think a tough position for me, but I didn't really think much after rook h3, f5. Here also e4 I think is possible, but I offered him a draw, and since agreeing to a draw is not possible before 30 moves, so we decided to repeat the position like this. And yeah, so nothing much to talk about in this game really, and I really feel bad that I played such a symmetrical opening as white here. and I would really hate it if some lower player does the same as against me as white. But given the circumstances, I think I made the right decision, and yeah. So going to the next game, which is against Aronyak Ghosh. Also one of the best players from Bengal, and he's just one GM norm away from getting the GM title. He's like 2544 rated and very solid player. Hasn't lost a single game as white in like the last 2.5 years, I think, and maybe 2 games as black. But yeah, it's really hard to beat him, especially with black. And yeah, he's currently, I think, the strongest IM in India. So after knight f3, I played knight f6, g3, d5, bishop g2, e6, castles, bishop e7, d3 castles, knight d2. We didn't really have much time to prepare for this game, so I played c5, e4. I do know a bit about these structures, but I was surprised by e takes d5. Like, I have some ideas with e5, knight d7, and then I go a5, bishop s6, queen c7, rook c8, rook d8, or maybe rook c8 and then queen d8 back, and rook f8 and queen d8 back. I mean, it's a game, and this is a more ambitious option by white. But Aronyak, as is known for his very solid positional style, he played e takes d5. Of course, he's not going to go for a direct attack. I played ed5, knight b3, and here I was kind of uncomfortable with my position. I understood that he's going to play something like a4, trying to break my pawn chain here. But I was also afraid of d4, trying to kick out my c5 pawn and enter on c5 with his knight. I saw some variations like h6, a4, b4, bishop e3, d4, bishop e4, and I didn't really like this position because there's knight d2, knight c4, and white is getting this juicy c4 square for his knight. After the game, I saw that h6 is kind of the best move. A4 is a move, but the point is black takes, b takes f4, rook takes f4. Actually, I wasn't familiar with this idea because I thought that the a pawn can become weak, and this d5 pawn is also a weakness. And I thought maybe white can put some pressure on the d5 pawn and get this c4 square in the future, and I really was afraid of this his light square bishop. So I played bishop e6, which is a slight inaccuracy. He played d4, c4, and knight c5, and here I made kind of a serious mistake. I took on c5 with my bishop, giving up the bishop pair, which is of huge importance at such when you're playing against strong opponents who are like 25-50 rated. Bishop g4 might have been the best choice here. I did think about it a bit because I was thinking about knight d7 next, trying to kick out this knight because it's kind of annoying to have it here. But I don't know, like after h3 I have to take the knight here, bishop takes, and maybe rook c8 now. Yeah, trying to take here, but there's a3. Maybe now knight d7. Yeah, knight d7 takes bishop g4. There's f5, and if bishop g4 directly, now f5 is not possible due to knight e6 fork, but knight takes. If bishop takes, I have knight d3, so just to take with the pawn, and now rook c7, bishop f4, rook b7. Yeah, now the c5 pawn is falling. So yeah, maybe bishop g4 was the best move there, but I was already feeling quite tired, and yeah, I was, both of today's games I was playing by intuition, not thinking even a bit. bishop g4. I really don't know why I didn't play that move. But yeah, bishop c5 was played, and after dc5 I played knight e4. Again, an inaccuracy. I don't know what's the best move there. If queen e7, there's I think bishop e3. Maybe even knight d4 is, but I can take. No, this should be fine for me, yeah, with rook e8. But bishop e3 is coming. Yeah, this is c6 knight is on entry. If d4, rook into c6 is there. Yeah, so difficult position, I think. I played knight e4, trying to grab this pawn on c5. He played knight d4, takes, rook c8. He played b4, and I missed this idea that after cb3, if I take with my knight on c5, there's always this bishop a3 pin against my f8 rook. So quite a difficult position for me. Takes cb3, and here something like, actually bishop b2 wasn't required. I think just ab3, knight c5, and bishop a3. There's queen b6 here, and this I saw this variation actually, f6, and I'm safe here. I'll go bishop f7 next. But maybe cb3 here is possible, because if knight c5, there's bishop a3, and if queen b6, there's rook c1. Yeah, but I won't take on c5 now. What can I do here? Yeah, maybe there's nothing good for me here. Takes, and I'll just b4, and I should be cooked here with the double bishops for white, and this destroyed pawn structure on the file is bad for me, bad news. Bishop b2 was played, which is a slight inaccuracy. I played queen f6, gf6, and after the game he told him underestimated this idea with gf6. I think just knight f6 it doesn't work because of cb3. Rook c5 is not possible again because of bishop a3 pin, and cb3 I was thinking about b4 and rook c1, rook c6, and now I saw bishop d4, rook c8, rook c2, knight d7, and now something like rook c1, and I can never play bishop f5 because bishop d5 is coming, and after bishop c2, bishop c6 takes, but it's clearly winning. And if not bishop f5, white is going to prepare h3, g4, f4, f5 slowly, and this bishop is completely dominating the d7 knight, and my b6 bishop is quite passive due to the protection of the d5 pawn. I should be completely lost here. So I played g takes f5, and after c takes b3 I played knight c5, bishop f6, h6. I'm already strategically completely lost here, but I'm trying to defend as much as I can. Rook e5. Idea was rook h5 and attack the h6 pawn. Something like rook d8 doesn't work because of rook h5. King h7, bishop e3, and the h6 pawn can't be saved. King h7, bishop d5 was played. I was actually considering something like, I don't know, bishop e3, and now king g6 is coming, right? Yeah, king g6 is coming, but maybe bishop f1. Yeah, bishop f1 and then bishop e3 and rook h5. Bishop f1 with the idea of protecting the d3 square from the knight, but bishop d5 was played, rook d8, takes, bishop e3, and king g6. Here actually after the game Aronyak told me that knight d4 was the best shot at drawing, but I completely missed this move during the game. The idea is that it threatens knight f3 check and knight c2. Knight c2 will fork the rook and the bishop. Maybe rook e7 is a move, but I think something like knight c2, rook f1, king g6. I don't know, like white should be winning somehow here, but I don't know how. No, king e6 was played, and after a4 I played b4, rook e4, a5, rook e5, and here I had some hopes of drawing the game with knight d4, but it doesn't work. I missed an important idea. Something like rook c3 or rook d3 might have been a better choice, but after rook c3 I saw rook b1, rook d3, rook f5, takes, this, and now a5, maybe rook b1 check here, king g2, b3, a5, rook a1, bishop d2, rook a3, and I don't know what's happening in this position, but I think somehow white is going to win here. But I intuited that knight d4 might be drawing, and after rook d4 there's rook f5. I also considered rook takes a5 here, but there's knight c2, rook f1, and I think I'm holding here somehow by some miracle, because there's rook c3 and I take the b3 pawn, and I also threaten knight takes e3. Yeah, it's kind of quite a hard position for white to win. Maybe it's winning, but most likely it's a draw here. Bishop d4, rook f5, I played rook c3, rook b1, and here I played rook d2, trying to create some counterplay. But I saw rook d3, this rook b5 takes, this can't be, I can't hold this. Maybe if I had a pawn on g7 it's holding, but this is clearly not holding. So I played rook d2, but he played rook b5, which is a very accurate move, and I think this is the only way to win for white here. Something like rook s, something like I'm threatening to go rook f3 next and grab the pawn on f2. Some stupid move like rook a8 doesn't work because of rook f3, rook f1, rook b3, and some, if he starts pushing his pawn, I just go rook a3, and if a6 I just gang up on the a6 pawn and take it. And if something like rook b1, I can always play rook a2, and he's forced to go rook f1, and now I go rook a3 again. So this drawing, but he played rook b5, rook f3, rook b4, rook f2, rook g4 check, king h5, rook h4, king g5, and the point is now the h2 pawn is guarded and there's no perpetual check, because something like b4 and there's rook g2, there's always king h1, and I don't have the luxury to take on h2 due to the h4 rook. So f5 was played in the game, b5, f4, b6, and here if I had one extra tempo I could have gone for f3, b7, this, king h1, and now rook e2, and if I had an extra tempo, then after a5 I think f2 is actually winning for me, but with the idea of rook e1 check, but I'm one move too short. So rook g2 check, king h1, I played rook b2, rook takes, and after a5 I resigned the game, because something like rook b5 is going to take rook f4, rook f5, rook b4, and after the rook 8 this is going to be a clearly lost position for me. So yeah, quite interesting games today. Not the first one was not interesting at all though, but yeah, I got completely outplayed in this in the 7th round, but yeah, like playing Aronyak and Diptayan on the same day is like a very hard and exhausting thing to do, especially when you have low energy. But yeah, so currently I'm at 4.5 out of 7. There are maybe a few players at 6 out of 7, mostly at and some players at 5.5, some at 5, but I'm at a decent position right now, and I hope to finish strong. 3 more rounds to go, anything can happen. So yeah, I didn't analyze the games very deeply today because I'm quite tired now. And if you enjoyed the video, hit the like and subscribe button, and stay tuned. I'll come back tomorrow with the 8th round recap. And yeah, have a good day, night, evening, wherever you're from, and see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.